Shabbat Shalom, and welcome to our service tonight. And I know that there are people watching this service online on YouTube or Facebook, and there are also a few of us in the sanctuary, which feels very special when in the emptiness of this beautiful Jerusalem stone, we've come together to pray and to think and to end our week. And perhaps Friday night service is my favorite service, only because it is such a good way to begin the weekend. And to mark Shabbat, I would like to invite Abby Berger to light candles for us.
I'll turn off our video. Let's get started.
No.
The people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. In the past week, some have known sorrow or disappointment, and for some, the future looks far from bright. Let this Sabbath be an oasis of quietness. To the lonely may it bring companionship. To the sorrowing, comfort. To the dispirited, courage. To all of us, peace of mind and hope for the future. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher tishanu b'mitzvotov v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
This week it is service number 5, so we begin our service on page 88. You will see the prayers on the screen shortly. There are days when we seek material things and measure failure, but we do not own. On the Sabbath, we wish not to acquire, but to share. There are days when we exploit nature with reckless greed. On the Sabbath, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation. There are days when we think only of ourselves. On the Sabbath, we open our hearts to the needs and rights of others.
You'll always be
עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון בכינור, כי שימחתני אדוני בפועליך, במעשה ידיך ארנם. מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. צדיק כתמר אפרח, the righteous shall flourish like the palm, grow tall like the cedar of Lebanon. Planted in the house of the Eternal One, they shall flourish in the courts of our God. They shall still bear fruit in old age. They shall ever be fresh and green, proclaiming that God is just, my rock, whom there is no flaw. Come in peace, creation's crown, let joy and gladness now abide. Refresh God's people and its faith. Come in, O bright, come in, O bright. And we stand for Baruch. We praise you, Eternal One, our God, sovereign of the universe, whose word brings on the evening, whose wisdom opens heaven's gates, whose understanding changes times and seasons, and whose will sets the stars in their courses in the sky. You make day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light. You make day pass and bring on the night, and separate day from night. You rule the host of heaven. Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ari v'ramim. We praise you, O God, whose word makes evening fall.
אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך אהבת תורה ומצוות חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת ונשמח בדברי תורתך
ואהבתך אל תסור ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. We stand for the first line and say the first line, the Shema. Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael,
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושננתם לבניך, ודיברת פעם בשבתך בביתך ולכתך בדרך, ובשובך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לנוכחכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
All this we hold to be true and sure. You alone, Eternal One, are our God, and we are Israel, your people. You have freed us from oppressors and delivered us from tyrants. You led us out of Egypt forever to serve you in freedom. When we witnessed your power, we praised your name and gave thanks. Willingly we accepted your rule, then full of joy we sang together.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדע בקודש, נורא תהילות וזבלים, נורא תהילות
ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל. Grant, eternal God, that we may lie down in peace, and let us rise up to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your wise counsel, and for your name's sake be our help. Shield us from sickness and war, from famine and distress, and keep us from wrongdoing. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, for you are our guardian and deliverer, a gracious and merciful God. Guard our going out and our coming in, that now and always we may have life and peace. We praise you, O God. May your shelter and peace descend on us and all who dwell on earth. We stand for the Amidah. Adonai שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומשיר ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה מתים אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומרעית הגשם, מזריח השמש ומרעית הטל, מכלכל לחיים בחסד, מחיה מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה מתים. קדוש אתה ונורא שמך, ואין לנו אלוה מבלעדיך. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. We thank you, O God, for this Sabbath day, which calls us to a closer communion with you. Though you are near to us at all times, you reveal your presence most clearly when we direct our thoughts towards you in worship and meditation. In you, O God, our humanity is exalted. You are our life. From you come its greatness, its power, its beauty. Establish in us, we humbly pray, a devotion to you that shall be firm in all the circumstances of life. May this service renew in our hearts the sense of your presence and bring us peace.
Shabbat השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת, שבת וינפש. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם.
אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, רצה במנחתנו, קדשנו במצוותיך, ותן חלקנו בתורתך. שבענו מטובך ושמחנו בשועתך, ודהר ליבנו לעובדך באמת. והנחילנו אדוני אלוהינו באהבה וברצון שבת קודשך, וינוחו בה ישראל מקדשי שמך. ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת. Eternal God, be gracious to your people Israel, and in your love accept their prayers. May our worship now and always be acceptable in your sight. We praise you, O God, whom alone we worship in reverence. מודים אנחנו לך, שאתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו לעולם ועד. צור חיינו, מגן נשינו, אתה הוא לדור ודור. נודה לך ונספר תהילתך, על חיינו המסורים בידיך, ועל נשמותינו הפקודות לך, ועל ניסיך שבכל יום עמנו, ועל נפלותיך וטובתך שבכל עת, ערב ובוקר וצהריים. ברוך אתה אדוני, הטוב שמך, ולך נאה להודות.
שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל, בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם.
ברוך אתה אדוני עושה השלום. We praise your God, the source of peace. Let's spend a few moments in silent prayer, personal reflection, meditation. Divide and rule is a very known policy and principle that's intended to keep someone in a position of power by causing disagreement between people who might otherwise unite against them. It was utilized by emperors, and Niccolo Machiavelli identifies a similar application to a military strategy, and there are many historical examples of it being used in practice. The key aim of the strategy is to divide people into small groups and make them doubt each other's goodwill. As a result, each individual group is weakened by spending time and resources on fighting with each other and with other clusters of society instead of pursuing common goal. Rosabeth Moss Kanter of the Harvard Business School writes in her book Confidence about a different strategy for a leader. Leadership, she writes, is not about the leader. It is about how he or she builds the confidence of everyone else. This concept is very different from the traditional divide and rule approach to leadership. It's based on empowerment of all individuals and all parts of a larger system. In his book Atomic Habits, James Clear tells a story about the organization which was the governing body for professional cycling in Great Britain. In 2003, they hired a new performance director. He was hired to put British cycling on a new trajectory. What made him different from previous coaches was his relentless commitment to a strategy that he referred to as the aggregation of marginal gains, which was the philosophy of searching for tiny margin of improvement in everything you do. He said, the whole principle came from the idea that if you broke down everything you could think of that goes into riding a bike and then improve it by 1%, you will get a significant increase when you put them all together. This way, each part of a larger system works towards a mutual goal, achieving the best possible result for all. In this week's Torah portion, we read a story how division among the people and the lack of leadership led to irreversible disaster for all. It was perhaps the single greatest collective failure of leadership in the Torah. 10 of the 12 spies whom Moses had sent to spy out the land came back with a negative report. The Torah records their report in this way. We came to the land to which you sent us. It follows with milk and honey, and this is its fruit. And it is there are lots of paintings which portray a huge grapes and a huge baskets of fruit which the land produced. However, the people who dwell in the land are strong, and the cities are protected and very large. We are not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we are. The land through which we have gone to spy it out is a land that devours its inhabitants, and all the people that we saw in it are of great height. And the Torah is using here the special word, Nephilim, which probably means giants or some kind of mystical creatures of a great height. We seemed to ourselves like grasshoppers, and so we seemed to them. Perhaps these were the facts, and the task of conquering the promised land was unachievable. Perhaps they were right. Perhaps it was right to wait and not to endanger Israelites and by sending them to very large cities that were very well protected. But in the eyes of Torah commentators, these 10 spies made an inexcusable mistake. They made people to feel small, unable to achieve anything. It is in the time of crisis, when people are tired and they've been coming through a lot of difficulties, when the temptation to argue, to divide people into good and bad, is the highest. According to a classical rabbinic text of Mishnah, the narrative of the transgression of spies is dated on the 9th of Av, a fatal date in Jewish history. Time after time, catastrophes will fall on this day after the sin of spies, so that it will be institutionalized as a national day of fast, accumulating its own complex history of cataclysmic loss. Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av, is a day when, according to our tradition, both first and second temple were destroyed, and most other national disasters, expulsions, and tragedies have been attributed to be fallen on the 9th day of the Hebrew month Av. Coming back to its original meaning, the story of spies and their negative report was the story was about the inability and unwillingness to have faith in your own people that was in the core of this tragedy. Later on, Talmudic rabbis reflected on this day and tried to articulate reasons for the destruction of both First and Second Temple. In Tractate Yoma, they ask, due to what reason was the First Temple destroyed? And the answer they give is as follows. It was destroyed due to idol worship, immoral behavior, and bloodshed. However, they thought more and took an example of the Second Temple. The people during the Second Temple period were engaged in Torah study, according to rabbis, observance of mitzvot, and acts of kindness, and they did not perform the sinful acts that were performed in the First Temple period. Why was the Second Temple destroyed, they asked. It was destroyed due to sinat chinam, baseless hatred among people. At such time, our tradition, peoplehood, at a time of crisis, at a time when we reflect on difficulties we have to overcome, our tradition, peoplehood, religion should function as a tool and means to be together and unite us, rather than to lead to sinat chinam, baseless hatred. In the words of Psalm 23, even when I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Regardless of what kind of hardship and tragedy falls upon this world, the best response is to be united, is to be together, to help each other to find faith in a better future, and to encourage each other to continue the journey towards the promised land. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may this be God's will. We conclude our service with the words of Aleinu on the page 520. I'd like to ask you to please stand. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, אשר שם חלקנו לייחד את שמו וגורלנו להמליך מלכותו. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש, ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגבהי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו, אין עוד, אמת מלכנו, אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו. ידעת היום והשיבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ, מתחת אין עוד. Creator of the universe, you give us life in which joys and sorrows are commingled in accordance with your wisdom, and you send death with its promise of eternal peace. Teach us to accept humbly and courageously whatever burden is laid upon us. And this Shabbat, as a community, we think especially of those who died recently, and we stand with their families and friends. And we as a community mourn the recent death of Yosef ben Tzvi Yule. And we say to all who knew Yosef, Hamakom yenachem etchem betoch sha'ar ha'avelim. May God comfort you and all who mourn. We also remember the lives of those who died in this time of the year in the past. Amor Arevur, Glenn Braves, Libby Kamra, Liba Bat Reb Meir David HaKohen, Frank and Peggy Charkin, Elaine Cohen, Laura Feinstein, Julius Geiger, Elaine Goldman, Rose Kay, John Roberts, Anne Stern, Marjorie Stern, and Jack Wise. Comfort those who mourn, and let the lights of faith illumine the darkness of their sorrow with hope of immortality. Strengthen us at all times with an unfailing trust in your providence. And we say, Zichronam Livracha, may their memory be for a blessing for us and generations after us, as we say the words of Kaddish together. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ועלמא דברה חירותה וימליך מלכותה, בחייכות וביום מכות, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריף ואמרו, אמן. יהא שמי רבה מברך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו, לאלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, דושבחתה ונחמתה, ואמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיים, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל בני אדם, ואמרו אמן. May the Most High, source of perfect peace, grant peace to us, to all Israel, to all humanity, and let us say, Amen. Please be seated. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to all who participate in this service, to all who are in the sanctuary. We have a unique situation where there are as many people in the sanctuary who help to organize everything as there are people who came to participate. But I think we all are here together. I think that's also important to remember. And those of you who are on Zoom, on Facebook or YouTube, just wanted to remind you that every week, pretty much, we have some seats available. So if you would like to come and experience the service from the LJS, just email the synagogue or call the synagogue and just give the details for track and trace. But if you are watching it online now, after the service, there will be an opportunity for us to say Shabbat Shalom to each other. Unfortunately, not those who are in the sanctuary, but those who are online can join our Zoom Kiddush space, which I normally call Zoom Montefiore Hall or Virtual Montefiore Hall. And I will go to my office and join the Zoom call, and you will see the details at the very end on the screen, and they will also appear on the YouTube chat. You will see the link. All you need to do is just click on it, and it will take you to the right place. And also, yes, stay after the service for a little bit, just say Shabbat Shalom before you go to have your dinner. There are a few upcoming events. One is we are restarting our informal LJS meetup group in Regent's Park. It used to happen in the beginning of pandemic, and now we are restarting it. And if you would like to meet members and go for a walk, and just please email ljs@ljs.org and for the details. The last chance to have a tea with Rabbi Rachel Benjamin will be on the 16th of June at 5 p.m. After that, Rabbi Rachel will take a little break, and we will see whether we will start this a bit later again. But this is also a good opportunity. This will be on Zoom, so that's a difference between the tea and the walk in the park. The annual AGM, the LGS's AGM, will be on Wednesday, the 23rd of June. So this is a really good opportunity to understand where we are as a community, to hear reports from the chairmen you had and Rabbi Alexandra Wright on the activities of the LGS, have an opportunity to ask questions, and also to hear trustees' report and approve the election of members who are starting for the LGS Council as well. So please keep this date in your diary, the Wednesday the 23rd of June at 7:30 p.m. There will be a special guest, the guest speaker will be Rabbi Charlie Baginski, Chief Executive of Liberal Judaism as well. Thank you to our musicians. I know that they are often watching the service or participating, so I just want to say thank you. If you're watching, it's such a joy, it brings a lot to our services. Thank you. And Colin, thank to you for operating cameras so seamlessly and with a sense of art, I would say, because I think it is to some extent an art. Thank you. And we conclude our service with a rendition of Psalm 23.
Adonai roi lo echsa binot deshe yabitzei al mei menuchot
מי ששיכן את שמו בבית הזה, הוא ישכין ביניכם אהבה ואחווה ושלום ורעות. May the one whose presence dwells in this house cause love and harmony, peace and friendship to dwell among all of us. Amen. Shabbat Shalom. If you are participating online, please follow the instructions, and if you're on Zoom, just stay where you are.